Hello and how's it going, everyone? It is your Pale Gaming News Vampire here with something big to talk about regarding Starfield. And no, that isn't the sun reflecting off me. This is the beautiful healthy glow of having some actual confirmed Bethesda stuff to talk about regarding Starfield. That's all this is. And this is something that has been taking the community by storm over on Reddit and my Discord, and I'm sure any other like Bethesda-centric creators Discord or whatever. But basically, we're going to be breaking it all down in today's video because this is kind of a small thing, but at the same time, there's a lot in this, and normally this would be something that I think like would be heavy on that speculation salt, but to be honest, it seems like there is some confirmed stuff in this, some very interesting patterns to break down for those of you who follow the Nick Valentine path and try to look into things a little bit deeper, like Moar Skullzi here, and at the same time, there is a little dash of that speculation salt into the mix, so be sure to go to your speculation salt machine and get some on the ready for today's video. Let's not waste any more time and get to today's information. And we're gonna start today's video at the LinkedIn profile for Heather Serlin, and this is someone I've talked about in previous videos in regards to potential like images that kind of would set the tone and feel for Starfield. I've talked about ArtStation discoveries and Pinterest things that some of these artists like Heather Serlin will kind of favorite from other artists. They find other artwork or creations in the gaming industry that are relevant to sci-fi and space, and they kind of favorite and bookmark those so they can reference them later as inspiration for how they want to make assets for Starfield. Heather Serlin is one of the artists that I've broken down in previous videos for exactly these reasons, but now it seems like as of maybe a week or so ago, she isn't at Bethesda Game Studios anymore, and she's somewhere else. And this isn't the focus of today's video, but the rhetoric around it is what makes this very interesting, because it seems like she was hired by Bethesda Game Studios back in 2018 for the sole purpose of working on Starfield, because if you look at her actual LinkedIn experience during her time at Bethesda, it only lists her working on Starfield. Literally, that's it. That's all she was working on while she was at Bethesda, and now she's gone, but she's not leaving on bad terms, because it seems like she's talking to other Bethesda Game Studios employees or Bethesda employees, and it's all cordial. It seems like this is an expected thing. And one thing that comes to mind sometimes in the gaming industry, artists or developers or whatever will be hired on by like what's considered a contractual basis, meaning just for a specific project. And I have the feeling that's what was going down in Heather Serlin town over at Bethesda. I have the feeling that she was hired on a contractual basis to finish the art, or at least her portion of the art and stuff, for Starfield. And with her leaving Bethesda now, I think that's pretty damn good evidence that Starfield is basically finished. And on top of this, some of the Bethesda developers, in this cordial response to her on LinkedIn, because that's where she made this post here, some of them even say they hope to see you at E3, or at least they hope to see her at E3. And why would they hope to see her at this E3 when, first of all, it's an all-digital event, which is weird, right? But second of all, Starfield might be there. I mean, if they're referencing E3 directly, you would think that Starfield would be at E3, right? And it's kind of too early to tell if E3 next year is going to have a physical event. I know some people may think that this could be for E3 2022, meaning that Starfield would be at E3 2022, and I think it's too early to say that E3 2022 would be a physical event as opposed to the all-digital event that's happening this year, because we still don't know what's going down with COVID and how long this stuff is unfortunately going to stick around for and keep these events from happening. But at the same time, we don't even know if E3 is going to be around for much longer, because E3's kind of been getting low-key lesser and lesser, and more companies have been pulling out of E3. Unfortunately, I kind of want E3 to stick around, because I would love to go to more E3s. I only got to go to one, and now all this is happening. Why? But the point is that I don't think that this hope to see you at E3 comment here is referencing a future E3. I think they're talking about E3 2021, but that's still confusing because it's supposed to be all digital. Maybe Bethesda has some sort of like event where they all get together and watch E3 together. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of here, but there's something even more interesting to take away from this statement, and it's the main focus of what I want to talk about in today's video. And you could be saying there's more in this freaking paragraph. Well, in case you haven't realized it yet, I'll go ahead and I'll read it for you with my old lady glasses, because the Karoshi implants don't work. But as of about a week ago, Heather Serlin posted this: "Today was my last day at Bethesda Game Studios. I have learned a tremendous amount during my time there. It has been an honor to work with my friends and colleagues on Starfield for the last 3 years. They are doing some super ambitious things, and I wish them all the success in the universe. I'll be sharing updates soon on my next adventure." And look at the spaceship emoji! Look at the spaceship emoji! So here we are with a another developer saying that Starfield is super ambitious, only this is the first public developer to say this, because the only other person that's referenced from Bethesda saying this is some anonymous person that supposedly came up behind Camelworks at some event, tapped on his shoulder and said, "Hey Camelworks, Starfield is very, very ambitious, I'm super excited for it, oh boy," and then turned around and walked away. That story, while I believe Camelworks, it's just like, Camel didn't give any more context to this. I get the fact that he couldn't, but man, you should have at least given us a little bit more like surrounding information about the biggest statement about Starfield up until now. So I guess we don't need that Camelworks quote anymore, because we have a direct quote from a Bethesda Game Studios artist saying that Bethesda is doing some very ambitious things with Starfield, and for this to be public is very interesting, and I don't think Bethesda would want this to be public unless Starfield was coming out at some point soon. I feel like my mouth is making weird Zoidberg noises, so I need to drink liquids. And I don't even know where they begin breaking down or speculating over this. Starfield is going to be this huge ambitious thing? Like, what's going to set it apart from being ambitious? Were previous Bethesda Game Studios RPGs not considered ambitious by this standard? Because apparently not. I mean, they did kind of fall into a regular pattern there. Maybe Starfield is going to be like the next step up from what Bethesda Game Studios was doing previously, only they're not going one step up like they do with most of the transitions from one generation to the next in terms of gaming technology. Maybe they're jumping like 2, 3, or even 5 steps up. Maybe Starfield is going to be a gigantic game, like with a lot of stuff in it. Lots of planets that are all handcrafted, lots of handcrafted content, none of that No Man's Sky fill-in-the-blank procedural generation. Maybe Starfield is going to have like a 1,000-hour game main story, or at least total content. Who knows what the deal is here, but something about this game has multiple Bethesda Game Studios developers referring to it as a very ambitious thing. So I think it's safe to say that even if you don't think Starfield looks amazing by the time it's released, it's going to be something special, something that's going to set it apart a bit from other Bethesda Game Studios RPGs and maybe other RPGs in general. And lo and behold, the second I start recording my audio, the neighbor's sentient AI lawnmowers have heard my voice and have woken up to just randomly do whatever they do every day. I don't understand how much lawn you have to mow every day. What is happening? It's the same house. It's the same house! But nonetheless, I'm super hyped now, because not only do we have this quote saying Starfield is going to be super ambitious, which is obviously interesting, but we have all this rhetorical speculative evidence now that Starfield should be released this year, or at least is going to be featured at E3 this year, because if one of the artists that was hired on a possibly contractual basis only to work on Starfield is leaving Bethesda now, that means that Starfield would basically have to be finished, right? And if other Bethesda employees and stuff are saying, "See you at E3, you would think that the game would have to be at E3 this year, based upon the reasons that I've said earlier about it most likely not being a year from now or something like that. Most likely not being 2022 or beyond. So when you take all this into mind here, it makes this little tiny quote just seems really, really amazing, and actually be one of the biggest statements regarding Starfield we have had so far, which is saying a lot without saying much at all, because it just shows you how little Bethesda has been talking about this game. And some people theorize they haven't been talking about it because there's problems going on, but now it seems like they haven't been talking about it because they want it to be a huge surprise. Because imagine if Starfield is like a Bethesda Game Studios game, an RPG, only times 10 and set in space, with a lot of depth and a lot of awesome stuff, because I have the feeling that's what this game is going to be. And if Bethesda just dropped that on us out of the blue, people would lose their minds. This could really be the biggest comeback ever. Not that Bethesda needs a comeback, I'm just saying that the kind of like opinion of Bethesda Game Studios since Fallout 76 and stuff has kind of diminished a bit, just because a lot of the issues the game had at launch. But the game is super good now, they fixed a lot of the problems, so even if you still haven't forgiven Bethesda despite them fixing these problems, Starfield might do it for you. Starfield may be the thing that brings a lot of the disillusioned Bethesda fans back to Bethesda Game Studios, and partnered with that Microsoft money now, Starfield could be amazing. I just hope it's not No Man's Sky endless level amazing. I hope it's all handcrafted content like we know and love from Bethesda Game Studios. But either way, that's everything I wanted to talk about in today's video. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there is a lot of confirmed stuff mixed with speculation in this, and even though the statement didn't seem like much at first, hopefully by the end of the video now you understand what I was saying in regards to it actually having a lot more content and information than meets the eye. But I'm going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn notifications on. And if you want to help grow the channel and the community, be sure to share the video, share the channel, get people to be aware of the content, because the YouTube algorithm really ignores channels underneath 100,000 subscribers. And since I've been asking y'all to share the content, the channel has been growing a lot faster. So huge thank you, it is much appreciated. And speaking of appreciation, huge shout out to these amazing people for going above and beyond to support the channel and bring you content like this. If you want to get a permanent feature video shout out in every single one of my videos from this point forward, you can support the channel over on Ko-fi, Patreon, or here on YouTube as an exclusive channel member. Links for all this and more are down in the description below. And as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to tune in next time when Starfield is going to be the most ambitious ambition to ever ambitiones. Ambitiones, coming to you from Chef Boyardee.
It just works.